Aloha from the DPAA inside the Joint Air Base in Honolulu. I have to gather myself a little bit because it was a very emotional walk through the important work that the DPAA does to help account for all the POW and those who are missing in not only just the Korean War and of course all wars, but here specifically we came to learn about the work that they do for the Korean War veterans. And before we do that, the symbolism of this room was told by the director, Mr. Webb, and if you can just share with everyone again about the significance.
This is a very special room, as this is the family viewing room, and it was designed to be the family's room. It's not a portion of the rest of our facility, but this is the family's room. And this is the location where when families come to escort their loved one back home, this is where they get to see that family member for the first time. To be able to come in, see the remains of that individual, be able to spend some time with him. It's a private room. We can all leave and they can say prayers, anything they would like to do with the families. And so we're very proud of this room. It's a room where there are high emotions as this takes place, as you can imagine. But it's something that we wanted to have for the families, so that when they come out, they have a special room and they can spend as much time as they would like in this room.
So he's referring to, this is the building itself, or this room is at the center of the three doors out that you see, but it connects to different places. So this one, we were just at the lab, and we saw bones, remains, the 55 remains, as well as other that were previously here, that were recently brought back from North Korea. And how wonderful is that Dr. Jin, who's been working on it, she's also Korean. So can you tell us first of all, what it means for you to, as an individual, as a grateful Korean, and the work that you do and have been doing?
I've been leading the Korean War Project at DPAA for 8 years now, and I am a naturalized U.S. citizen, born and raised in Korea. And this work is very special to me, not only because I studied anthropology and I can actually use what I learned to do what I'm doing, but also my grandparents are from North Korea, and they came down during the Korean War on a U.S. Navy ship through Hungnam Port.
Oh, yes.
But
that's
also
the same one where the current president.
Like the president.
That's correct.
Oh my gosh.
And also my grandfather, who came down, ended up joining the ROK Army, so he fought during the Korean War for South Korea. So just having that personal connection means a lot to me, because my grandfather is still alive. He just turned 90 this year. So it's very personal. He's still alive here, but I am working on the remains of the guys who died very young, when around the same age that my grandfather actually came down from the north. So it's more than just a job for me. And also what I want the general public to know is, we always hear things saying like time is our biggest enemy, like the family is aging. I know that because my grandfather's 90. So I know that, and so we're trying our best to make an identification as fast as we can.
And I don't know what it is, but I think it's going to be good news that they're going to reveal. But as I've been saying, out of the 55, if we can just bring one, and it's better than none. And wow, I'm so grateful for what you are doing after learning how difficult and intricate and complex the process is. So there are, I know, many families out there waiting to hear some good news. So thank you. And of course, tell us, as the director of outreach to the families.
That's actually,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
he's the deputy director.
Deputy
of
director.
Outreach Communications.
Yes, communication. So outreach to the family and communications. It must be exciting and difficult time, challenging time for you right now, because there's a lot of expectations, emotional expectations on
Right,
it.
and that's I think a big part of what we do is managing expectations. Mr. Webb and I can tell you, talking to families, it's always an emotional event. Some have very realistic expectations. Others get a little bit of news and they want to make plans to, for the funeral. Say, well, we're not there yet. And others, it's a very emotional thing. But what we do here is so important. I think it really says a lot about who we are as Americans.
Oh yeah, by the way.
As we mentioned earlier, there's really 2 countries in the world that do this proactively. It's us and it's our South Korean partners. And that's it.
Amazing.
And that is it.
I
There's
used
no
to
other
think
countries.
that all the other, nations that fought in the Korean War had their own version of the DPAA, but I just learned today that our government, USA, and South Koreans are the only ones that are trying proactively, like you said, to recover and bring every soldier back home, literally and figuratively. So that's amazing. And I also learned that there are a couple ways that we, the public, can help to further your mission, and those are?
Well, again, like Mr. Webb said earlier, the public's knowledge or the public support of this issue is critical. Congress has a lot on their plate. They have to decide where best to spend the money they have. We feel this is something, this is the return of an American to his family, to his country, is something you can't put a price on. And these men answered the call. They made their sacrifice. Their families sacrificed. And we feel it's the least our government can do. And members of Congress need to understand how important this issue is to the families, to the veterans who lost friends, and as a whole, as a larger picture, to America. I think it's also important for active duty folks to know that if you find yourself, missing or otherwise unaccounted for, we're going to come find you.
Yes.
We're going to do everything we can to come find you.
Yes. So everybody, the government is capable and willing, and they can do it, but we have to also empower them, and with the resources, like you said, you can't put a price tag on it, but it is true, we live in the real world, and it does take money to go out there and to hire the best professionals like Dr. Jin, so make sure you do keep, number one, interested, the issue alive, and to always make sure that your member of Congress, whom we are electing, are making sure to allocate resources, in the budget, in the national budget. So again, these are things that are realistic. These are and if you know a veteran if you know a family, or if you are one of a POW or MIA, make sure that you go and get some DNA samples, because although we have 92% of the Korean War veterans who are unaccounted for, they're 92% of the samples. 8%, there's still 8% that we need. And of course, last but not least, we have the Korean War veterans with us, and from the Honolulu chapter. And if you can come here, your closing remarks, because your brother was a POW that was brought back. What did all of today, what does the work, of the DPA, what does it all mean to you?
Well, our family had a closure. Okay, now, he was 17 years old. My mother signed for him to go because he wanted to go with his big brother. But he came back and we had a closure We buried him at Punch Bowl. And for me to see the remains coming back and what you people are doing to help the families get their relatives back again. But it's amazing what you people are doing. So we had a closure, and I pray that the rest of the remains go back so they can have their closure.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm here in Hawaii. It's my 50th state. Tomorrow I'm going to be so honored to visit Punch Bowl with them, with my grandpas. We'll make sure to pray for and honor those who are, unaccounted for, the unknown remains at Punch Bowl as well. So I think ultimately I'm just hoping to plant more peace in this world, whether in the hearts of the veterans, or in the families, or since the war still hasn't ended, peace on the peninsula, because that means we can go and bring back more remains for our American soldiers who gave their lives. So again, it's my last stop of the last state of the United States of America, and my first around the Pacific to honor veterans and promote peace. So thank you so much again to all of you at DPA. Remember 77.org. Bye.